People who are coming from other places think that they have the same rights that you have. No, you have courtesies. There's a difference, right? You have courtesies. We've given you a courtesy. We've extended you a courtesy, okay? And we've given you some additional privileges, but those are not rights that you have. If you're an immigrant, that's just it. You're an immigrant. That means that we have given you courtesy. That doesn't mean that you come over here and you start making the rules.
Might have to drop a dime on them niggas.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
You gotta stop it.
I don't like that shit.
For sure, bro.
I don't like that shit.
Over the past couple years, we've seen a lot of evidence surface on social media that confirms what we already knew, that we are the indigenous peoples of this land. We already knew this, but now, it feels good to show the rest of the world, look, this is who we are. We're not African. That's a label that they put on us.
Period, also called the birth of the White Republic. The United States made 86 treaties with 26 indigenous nations between New York and the Mississippi, all of them forcing land handovers and including removals. And then they signed treaty after treaty, which were violated one after the other.
If it wasn't for our 14th Amendment, you would not be able to come over here, have babies, and gain birthright citizenship for your children. And we're the reasons why you were able to even come over here and get a green card, set up shop, and send money back to your family. You're mad. We can't be touched. You're upset. We can't be touched. The amendment has been enacted for us, not for you, baby.
Down on an alleged anchor baby ring on Long Island. Prosecutors say more than 100 pregnant women from Turkey came here to give birth, so their children were instantly granted U.S. citizenship.
Investigators say the women then used benefits like Medicaid. CBS 2's Carolyn Gussoff reports from Suffolk County.
An alert Smithtown town employee noticed a strange pattern of birth certificates, 5 babies from one house at one time. An investigation led to an international fraud scheme, an alleged birth tourism ring operating on Long Island for 3 years.
The defendants fraudulently facilitated the births in the United States of approximately 119 Turkish children. And those children now hold birthright U.S. citizenship.
It's the 14th Amendment that grants citizenship to any child born in the U.S.
Oh, they had birth houses like stash houses, just pregnant women tucked away like drugs, waiting to give birth. 6 of them are all around Long Island to give birth. And then they had advertisements. Yeah, if you want your child to be a U.S. citizen, you're in the right place. And it's only $10,000 a pop. So this is how they're running these birth tourisms and taking advantage of, exploiting the 14th Amendment. I'm pretty sure the framers, the founders, whatever you want to, title the people that came up with this amendment to give citizenship to the descendants of enslaved Black Americans, whatever you want to label them, they didn't create this amendment for, birth tourism and for foreigners and immigrants to take advantage of the United States. But yeah, this needs to be addressed, because even though they cracked this ring, there's other rings out there that haven't been cracked. There's people that's still taking advantage of birth tourism, Asian, Latino, and now you see white immigrants too. Isn't Turkish people white? I don't know. Hey, I know they mark white on the box, but yeah, everybody's taking advantage of it. It's crazy.
It does not mean, and it did not mean, that if somebody from Libya comes to America, that when they have a child, that they have birthright citizenship. It never did mean that.
It was not designed for an immigrant to hop over the fence and have a baby, and hey, that baby gets American citizenship. Wrong. It wasn't designed for rich immigrants to come over here and buy their citizenship by having babies.
Birthright citizenship, it had to be started because of Black people. Birthright citizenship is tied to slavery. Before the Civil War, Black people, enslaved or free, weren't considered people. They weren't considered citizens. This is Dred Scott. Dred Scott fought for our right to exist as people in this country. Dred Scott and his wife Harriet sued for their freedom. He was a slave, bought and sold like a piece of property. In 1857, the Supreme Court made sure we knew where we stood, saying that no Black person, free or enslaved, could ever be a U.S. citizen. But after the Civil War, Congress passed the 14th Amendment in 1868 to explicitly overturn Dred Scott and make sure that anybody that's born on U.S. soil is automatically a U.S. citizen. This was about making sure that formerly enslaved Black Americans could never have their citizenship stripped from them again. And yet here we are, watching people try to undo all of that work. We know they put a block on it. How long is that going to last? They say it's about immigration. Let's be real, if they can strip it from one group, who's next? Birthright citizenship is a correction, a promise that no one born here could be denied their place. And if we let them rewrite that, we're erasing the very foundation of freedom in this country.
We only have citizenship as a result of the 14th Amendment. And I know that there are segments of Black Americans that believe that we grew here like cornstalk. But if you're paying attention to the Supreme Court conversations that have been had today, they do not give a damn about indigeneity and have gone so far as to question Native folks. And if tribal Indigenous folks can claim U.S. citizenship on their own land. I did a video last year, particularly talking about the Dred Scott decision of 1857. And if you're watching this on TikTok, you can look at my caption for that video. And I was talking about how the Dred Scott decision, which was a Supreme Court decision, tells you what you need to know about how they feel about us being here. Chief Justice Robert B. Taney said that Black people had no rights that a white man was bound to respect. That the Declaration of Independence naming that all men were created equal was not for us. And that ultimately servitude was our place as Black people in the United States of America. Then you can absolutely recognize that no matter how many times they talk about illegals gaining citizenship, they don't want Black people to have it either. I find it odd that in this time, Black people will be trusting anything white men have to say. When the reason we have a whole ass Juneteenth is because people in Galveston, Texas weren't even told that they were emancipated. And also, it's not a matter of them stripping away our citizenship in order to ship us wherever around the world. It is their goal to have us in a continuum of servitude.
So the issue with this conversation is that it separates us from our birthright and our inheritance to the land, okay? And to, to benefit from the system, that was created from on our backs. And it really was. And so when the immigrants come here and they say, this place was built on the backs of immigrants. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. So Black people, you got to pay attention to this, because actually at the end of the day, what they're trying to do is they are trying to say that Black people are similar to immigrants, that we're the same, and we're not. We were indigenous to the land. We could never be the same. And I think we need to get a little bit ahead of this at the end of the day. I think instead of us even trying to play on this level field, because we are indigenous to the land, we have more capability and more power than we even know. And we need to start setting the tone for that. We need to start setting our own ground rules, because at the end of the day, it's getting out of hand.
1 little, 2 little, 3 little Indians, 4 little, 5 little, 6 little Indians, 7 little, 8 little, 9 little Indians, 10 little Indian braves. Ay, 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 ay.
People who are coming from other places think that they have the same rights that you have. No, You have courtesies. There's a difference, right? You have courtesies. We've given you a courtesy. We've extended you a courtesy, okay? And we've given you some additional privileges, but those are not rights that you have. If you're an immigrant, that's just it. You're an immigrant. That means that we have given you courtesy. We have given you the courtesy to allow you to do certain things. That doesn't mean that you come over here and you start making the rules.
10 little 9 little 8 little Indians, 7 little 6 little 5 little Indians, 4 little 3 little 2 little Indians, 1 little Indian brave.
So the issue that I have with immigrants coming in and trying to use that as like a catch-all type of umbrella clause for them is that they then are now pushing that means that they have the same rights as those who are indigenous to this land, one, which is Black Americans, who I'm specifically talking about. They are trying to say that Black people are immigrants and we're immigrants, so we should be able to be treated and get the same rights as Black people. And it's just not the truth. We are not immigrants. We were already here.
The United States and Africa had a lot of friendly conversations, had a lot of unofficial alliances, even won the tripartite accord. Go and Google it so you know I'm not lying about the shit. They were very friendly with each other in 1988 when all of a sudden the Black Americans here began to be reclassified as African Americans. In 2020, when they brought about reparations again, the wording that they use in giving those reparations is that you had to be an African American of African descent that were enslaved in the Americas in order to receive the reparations, which is very significant because we've always known that we are not African. They know they've always known that we are not African. Right now, you got the Native Americans, the Africans, and God knows who else debating on who owns Black America. You got the United States and Africa co-conspiring with each other to include Africans under the umbrella of African Americans. And why do you think that is? The terminology that is used is that the reparations will go to those African Americans of African lineage who were enslaved in the Americas, and that lineage must be able to be proven. You know, one thing you cannot do, Black America, is prove African lineage. You know who can prove African lineage? The Africans that are coming in here by the droves. None of this shit is for us. All of this is by design, is to line their pockets. They have an alliance with each other, which is why they made the classification of African American. That is the combination, the unification of two nations. They know who we are. They don't give a fuck about nobody else knowing who we are, because in the end, it benefits them in the money games that they create. You know the difference between an enslaved Black person and an enslaved African person? The enslaved African person is an indentured servant that is brought here against their will and forced into servitude. The Black enslaved are the indigenous people here who were prisoners of war and forced into servitude as part of their imprisonment. That's the difference in the classification. The Europeans take care of those that are in alliance with them. That's why they take care of the Native Americans, and that's why they're bringing the Africans in to take care of them. This is all a part of their design.
My people, I love you. I love you. And it doesn't matter to me what you believe the origins of Black people in America is. I don't care about that. I don't care if you believe that we are the descendants of Africans on the transatlantic slave trade. I do not care if you believe we are the true Israelites. I don't care if you think we're the natives of this land. I don't care if you call yourself a foundational Black American. None of that matters to me. I love you. I love us, our history. I love our potential. And on this issue of birthright citizenship, I am begging you to tread lightly. The United States Constitution was not written for us. It was written for European American men. So anytime we get on board with reinterpreting, redefining, or narrowing the scope of the United States Constitution, we are getting on some very thin ice. Because we, Black people in America, have used that very document that wasn't written for us to push our civil rights struggle, our struggle for human rights forward. We have done that successfully. We're potentially taking one of the primary tools we have used against them, their own tool against them. Do not weaken our weapon. I want you to seriously take a look at pieces of our history. Open your eyes to this country. Because what I know for a fact, and history supports, is America has always been trying to solve the Negro problem. They have been trying to solve this problem since we were freed. Solving the problem of undocumented immigrants, that's easy, deport them. But you want an all-white world, what are you going to do with the Negro? Do not encourage, promote, or assist in any way the narrowing of the scope of the United States Constitution. Because the people you think you're going to get are not the target. We are. We are.
A community must have three things to have a community in it. You must have a wholly independent economic structure that can provide goods, service, products, and things for your own people, and jobs and tax bases for your own people. You should at least control four basic things. You should be trying to control water, food, medicine, and energy to be able to survive and compete.
Here we got Mr. Pollock. He had a cornfield. He took advantage of a free water test from us, and this is what we found in this water. We found sulfur, we found hardness, and we solved these problems with an easy fix of 2 tanks. So get your free water test today. Stay blessed. Click the link below.